People, Deluded, I'm back again. Thank you very much for tuning in each and every time. Thank you for tuning back in. As usual, I've got some thoughts on my chest. Might as well get them off. Makes sense, doesn't it, people? First and foremost, not to keep banging the Ceballos drum, but obviously with a small uptake in his fortunes at Arsenal, the rumours are always going to surface in relation to potentially making an Arsenal move permanent. Because admittedly, it's an uptake from us, but is it really of the form to say, alright, you're going to be a part of Real Madrid's plans necessarily? You could say yes, you could potentially say no. Real Madrid could also want to cut their losses. If I was in Real Madrid, I can understand if you want to make a little profit on Ceballos and you've cut your ties. I personally think he and a number of their players, the young players, especially the Brazilians in and around, and a couple of their loanees, you look at Hakimi, Odegaard, I think it'd be worth giving them a go and trying to develop them. What can I tell Madrid? Because they'll make sizable sums on, not just them, but a couple of players on the fringes. But in relation to Ceballos, people, apparently we're hoping to secure a deal for Ceballos this summer, but we were not willing to pay the asking price of 40 million euros. The report went on to say Real Madrid are open to the deal, with Ceballos unlikely to secure first-team football under Zinedine Zidane if he were to return to Spain. Moving away from that though, people. However, they are keen to generate a profit on the 18 million they paid to bring him obviously from Betis in 2017. According to reports in the Daily Mirror, again you have to take this with a pinch of salt. Real Madrid have quoted Premier League size 40 million euros for the 23-year-old. Arsenal are confident of being able to bring that down to closer to 30 million euros. Acting like I can't read. Why I said 28 is because it'd probably work out like that. And now Arsenal are probably trying to do that for a 25, 32, maybe 35 in add-ons and whatnot. Because if it was 40 million euros, Arsenal do have more money, but with not qualifying for Europe and these things, how much money is available for transfers? What is the situation? 1 minute it looks positive, the next minute, you know, unless you're a wannabe financial expert or an actual financial expert, it's a bit difficult to comprehend, really and truly, how things could have been different if Roman Abramovich bought this club. Man, I saw a report today how he asked for feedback on English clubs, and bankers or advisors told him categorically Arsenal isn't for sale. But at least he didn't drive down the road to our neighbours Spurs and buy them, because the report also said that he was considering buying them, but he was put off by the area of Tottenham, and he said it was worse than where one of his oil refineries are. So yeah, considering this guy's seen a lot, to say that, boy, it tells you what it all needs to tell you about a certain area in North London that's 2 seconds away from where I live and where I do my local shopping. But sad. Right near the Sainsbury's, people. That's my local Northumberland Park, more or less. Moving forward from that, though, I wouldn't mind Ceballos for a decent fee. It all depends if Arteta wants him, because I think Ceballos is playing well. But I think it's a thing where, alright, you don't get Ceballos, it's all over? No, because he's not playing like that. I think he's a decent player. I'd be open to having him, definitely with his uptake in form. And obviously he gives Arteta good problems with his new developing partnership with Xhaka. Whether that's good enough and sustainable enough to get top 4, I don't know. But I think away from Ceballos, it highlights the need for a man in the centre of the park that can build from deep, someone that actually wants the ball, someone that wants to try and break the line, someone that wants to play progressive passes. Because for all Ceballos' criticisms, I think he's been good, but we could think of some criticisms. It just shows what energy and a bit of, I wouldn't say he's dynamic, but a bit of dynamism. He's a bit more, you know, trying to get around the place, trying to do things more at a hurry. Yes, he holds on to the ball too long at times. Yes, at times he mashes work defensively, but it wouldn't be a game for Ceballos if he doesn't give it away on the edge of our area or something. But I think he's a decent player, man. I like his bravado personally. He wants the ball. He wants to make the difference. He wants to impress. He wants to be. It wants to be difficult. And especially last couple of games watching Arsenal at the Emirates, their teams are just sitting back, 2 banks of 4, 5 men in midfield, just soaking up the pressure. And you've got to have players that want to break the lines and try things a bit different. And I think Ceballos or someone else got to be that. For me, if you was to make Ceballos permanent, the next option would be going for someone who is actually dynamic, a bit more box-to-box. Potentially IC3 like Partey of Atletico would be good. I like Zakaria personally of Gladbach as well. Sangria could be an option considering Toulouse are under Again, the season's been suspended, but it could be a cut price thing because they look to be getting relegated. We've been previously linked with Papa the Youth and players like this that can help us. Either way, I think we need someone 6. Size doesn't mean anything, but if I could, someone 6 foot, someone that's got a bit of legs about them in midfield. Don't have to be the best on the ball, but you have to be confident on it. Don't need to be necessarily a defensive mid, but again, you need to be able to get up and down and break plays. For me, you bring that in, you bring someone who's a bit more of a creative man in the middle of the park, we've got some better options. You bring a centre-half, and if there's money to go around, we look for another wide forward or whatever Arteta wants to do. That would be perfect, people, but it is what it is. Apparently, Valencia are still watching him and things like that. And he's had a tough time because he wasn't necessarily in the side at the start, but just before his injury, he was starting a couple of games for Arsenal. Then he had that injury layoff and he struggled to get into the team. He only got 17 minutes or so against Portsmouth, but he reacted well. He reacted well, people, really and truly. He's played against Newcastle and Everton. He's played against West Ham. He's actually played against Wolves and Palace and did okay in them games as well. He's made 24 appearances in all comps, and you heard how he reacted and, impressed Arteta very well in Dubai. So he's got his head down, thought about his situation, and maybe he thought to himself, you know what, fair enough, I left for Real Madrid and came to Arsenal and I'm playing in the Europa League, but maybe I have to take some responsibility. Why aren't I at Real Madrid? Why aren't I starting at Arsenal? Why hasn't my career been maybe how I projected it at date? And maybe that's given him some clarity to go forward. I don't know, but either way, it's nice to see he's reacted. And again, for me, the major point is it gives Arteta some difficult decisions. Yes, Torreira is injured, but prior to his injury, do I go Torreira and Xhaka? Do I potentially go Xhaka and Ceballos? Do I, you see what I'm saying, people? Different options make different sort of things happen for you, people, according to what you want to do. It is what it is in that regards. Moving away from Ceballos, though, one of you asked me in my comments my top 5 players of the Emirates era, and I think I've done this before, but I kind of changed it now. And if I had to pick, it's a weird one because it's a weird one, man. It's a weird one. There's been some ballers. Can't give it Van Persie for obvious reasons. Wouldn't give it to Arshavin, but Arshavin has been one of my favourite players of the Emirates era, as has Haleb to a degree. Definitely Rosicky. Coquelin for completely different reasons, just purely a passion merchant. Obviously, Jack Wilshere, just being a teenage Jack Wilshere specifically. As frustrating as Theo Walcott is, I had a soft spot for Theo Walcott, and there's many other players. But at a push, you have to put Alexis Sanchez. I know he went United, but electrifying, truly one of the best footballers to play for Arsenal at the Emirates, let's be honest. I would say Aubameyang, because in the time he's been here, he's been an electric player. The statistics in terms of goals speak for themselves. Obviously, it might not be spoken about in years to come, but he's scoring goals, playing in the middle, playing out wide. He's had suspensions. At a point, he's even been a super sub sort of thing under Emre, and his statistics speak for himself. He's been one of the best players relative to his position, without a doubt, in the league since he's been here. And in the Premier League. Even at a time when you scrutinise Arsenal signings, like if we were to look at Arsenal's collective signings for the last 5 to 10 years, there wouldn't necessarily be too many successes. Aubameyang has been worth every penny really. And maybe if his contract was tied down, Arsenal could get more money for him if he needs to allegedly be sold in the summer. So I'd say Aubameyang as well. And now where the slash comes in, because you've got to say Cesc Fabregas for me. I know many people will say what they want about Mesut Ozil, but since that man's been here, regardless of polarising opinion, if you've actually been there and watched him, he has truly been a fantastic footballer at this Emirates. For maybe, again, the constructive criticism of the day, I'm not going to get into it, but he's truly been quality. Santi Cazorla would probably be the one that gets it for me personally, people, but you can't miss out Aaron Ramsey. Yes, Aaron Ramsey doesn't have the technical qualities clearly of Santi, of a Cesc or an Ozil, but Aaron Ramsey's been Mr. Arsenal, come through time and time again for us. Another one like Theo and a couple of players grew up here, 17-year-old, fresh from Cardiff, left 27, 28, going to Juventus, had kids, been married, gone from a shy teenager to a leader and all of these sort of things, and one of the guys in the handbags on the pitch now. So it's a tough one for me and people. It's really a tough one. It'd be Santi. Do you know what? It's Alexis, it's Aubameyang, it's Santi, it's Ramsey, it's Cesc Fabregas. Would be it for me if I had to push it. Obviously, you can't really be counting. Yes, we've had Thierry Henry's technically played here, so everybody's irrelevant. But clearly Thierry Henry was not at his best in the Emirates, people. So that'll be it at a push. Away from that, though, Real Madrid apparently, based on reports, this is Don Ballon, I believe, so it's not the most credible source, but apparently they're willing to let Luka Jovic go in the next window. Apparently Napoli have already made contact now. Who knows if he's going to be a success? There's a couple other young strikers that you could look for. The one I would love, but we can't afford him, is 100 million, is Martinez of Inter Milan. Why not take a chance on Jovic? If we've got decent negotiation skills with Real Madrid or relations, because we've got Ceballos. Again, would they be option if we was to sell Aubameyang and get Jovic on loan with an option to buy or permanent, or get Jovic anyways if you're going to sell Lacazette? There's something to be done there, to be honest with you people. Either way, when we sell Aubameyang, if we sell Aubameyang, there isn't going to be many players or strikers regardless that you can convincingly say will get 20 league goals. Who knows if Jovic will, but he was a hitter at Hamburg before this Real Madrid thing. Everyone could have seen from a mile off, essentially, that this Real Madrid thing weren't going to work out as he planned, purely because to give yourself half a sniff of making it at Real Madrid, for me anyways, or Barcelona, you've got to kind of be the finished article. There's been established players that have failed there. So when you're these Jovic's, I know Asensio's a decent player there, but Asensio, Ceballos, Odegaard's coming into his own, all of these sort of players, it's going to be trials and tribulations. You're part of the team but not part of the team, as long as you're not the finished article sort of thing. And that's what he's going through. He's part of it, but Real Madrid's a different ball game, and it's not even just about being a good footballer. It's a different level of how you handle yourself, how you react to things, how you live and breathe life, let alone football, joining them clubs there, people. So maybe it's an option. I mean, surely if Napoli are going to do a thing, then we can do a thing. I don't know. Maybe the Italian way of life appeals to him a bit more than potentially England does. But maybe the London attraction, playing for Arsenal and all these things, might gas him. But away from that though, people, and you look, I don't know if I've specified this, but you look consistently hear me say, I want to see Aubameyang and Martinelli mix up on that left-hand side. And I do, people. Now, before we speak about the left, the right-hand side needs to improve. Obviously, we've got Pepe, who's been in different form. We've had to play Mustafi at a period at right-back, Socrates, Maitland-Niles, will he, won't he? We haven't really got to have any consistency, and we have an abundance of riches in the fact that Pepe is 70 million, but there's not really an abundance of great options on the right. And even if he was to play Kolasinac, he's bombing down that left. Tierney's bombing down that left. First choice fullback right now, which should be Bukayo Saka, bombing down that left. Aubameyang doing his thing on that left. Martinelli, whether he's there, down the left. And you typically, very left-hand centric. You typically see Saka further up. You see whoever's out there slightly further up. And you see Xhaka move from that midfield to like a half midfield sort of role, kind of covering the space. Naturally, we'll push up as a team. My man would have to either track back or make a decision, and we'd have to. Ceballos plays, so he's slightly higher. But if it was Torreira, you'd have Torreira there, and there'd be a bit more stability. But away from that, like I said, Xhaka normally's there, Saka does his thing, and Martinelli or Aubameyang. And you typically see Saka normally gets the limelight with the assist or whatever, but you typically see Xhaka at the involved in the sequence. I want to see potentially, and I know they ain't played, but why can't Aubameyang and Martinelli both start and rotate? Aubameyang loves to hide on the last shoulder of the centre-half. These are his goals. He's on the last shoulder. That's what he wants to do. But he's also shown he can make runs from out wide. And also, it helps us. Sometimes Aubameyang can put in a shift out wide. Martinelli through the middle. Martinelli's obviously got a great relationship with Mr. Bukayo Saka. Signed that new contract down the left-hand side. That's what I mean, people. I simply just want to see more switching from them, really and truly. I want to see more switching from all the front three, really, because I know Pepe prefers the right and he's got a lot of development to do. But why can't he play on the left? Maybe that might even help Pepe's game because there's less options. You either pass that ball inside or dribble out wide or cross it. Yeah, you can still hold on to it too long, but you're on your favoured side. It might be easier in terms of decisions. That's simply all I was on about, people. It's not rocket science as much as people like to complicate football. It's really not rocket science. I've got nothing more to add, I believe, so I'm going to get out of here. It's always a pleasure speaking with you guys, but all good things have to come to an end. People, before I get out of here, please make sure you vote for me to win the Football Content Awards, or for me simply get nominated. We've got until March the 31st to get them votes in. All the links are in the description. You can vote going on the website and via Twitter. You can vote simply by @ing me on Instagram. You can vote traditionally through the website and all of these sort of things. Yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Gonna get out of here. People, as usual, deluded. I'm out.